Okay, thanks everybody. So I'm Leanna Miller. Why am I talking to you about this? Why me? Because I helped build this tool, the Emerald Eco Label tool. And EPDs, I guess you could say, are kind of my jam. I actually cribbed some of my slides from an earlier presentation I made. The last time I spoke about this, I went to Australia and I was like, man, let me tell you about where I'm from. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to take that back to Minnesota and be like, it's really not different. I live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so thanks for inviting me here to the Cultural Center, Minnesota. That's home. Um, I'm Leanna, but you heard Abby speak about the grant program, and that is supported by my friend and competitor, Joseph Shackett. He's a great guy. If I know this stuff, he knows it even better because he was on the other side of the wall. My little group TriSite made the tool, and Joseph was at Napa making it all really work. So you cannot ask for a better person to help you out, and it is supported by MAPA. So you should 100% bother Joseph all the time. Sound good? Okay. He's a great guy. He's got a deep asphalt background. He used to work for an asphalt company for I don't know how long in Hawaii, and then he went to work for Napa, and now he's supporting MAPA through all this. So bother Joseph. I had some general slides that I think Emil covered the most of it, but I do want you guys to know you're not alone, but you are the leaders. So other states have these sort of buy clean efforts. Colorado and California are sort of coming along pretty well, but people are following your lead. So what we learn from you as producers and how this rolls out is really important for other folks. So it's not just Minnesota. How many people have actually looked at an EPD? Pretty good. Okay. I like to say an EPD is the gold standard for reporting environmental impacts without revealing operational details. David, I know you've seen this slide before. There's, buried in a number of pages, there's this table. This is the one everybody flips to. This is our Tracy impact table, and it's split into A1, A2, A3. You heard Emil just talk about that a lot. A1 is the bit that's driven by our mix design. A2 is the bit that's driven by our transport of our materials, usually aggregate trucking. And A3 is the bit that's from our production. We're going to look at a little bit of like what's actually typical and then get you guys cracking on making your own numbers. Okay. So this is from that same benchmarking study that Emil covered because, yeah, I was involved in it. I literally cried. It was really intense. It was really useful though. Mixed design, aggregate transport, climate region / production. Again, A1, A2, A3. We saw big differences. This is why we're really, really, really wanting to collect data from you because we saw here, this was the limit that the federal were going to say was the requirement to be under to kind of participate in these funds right here, this line. Wasn't a perfect average, but it's a good enough start. What the heck is this? It's Florida. Bless their hearts, Florida does not have good rock for making asphalt pavements. So just the trucking alone of the rock was blowing them out above the limit. Okay, so we didn't see that in the average though. You have to get more specific data in order to be like, hey, Florida, bless their hearts, they really should have a different limit because they just can't do anything about the rock. At least to start. They literally truck their rock from Georgia or they put it on a boat from Nova Scotia. And from a global warming potential standpoint, it's actually about similar. The trucking from Georgia versus the shipping from Nova Scotia is pretty wild. Excuse me. Oh, so as you get cracking and you see these numbers, this helps give a little perspective. This bit's driven by your mix design. This bit's driven by your transport of your rock. If you have to bring in, say, a specialty aggregate, or maybe you have some kind of specialty binder, you'll see this number go up. This number is usually the smallest number. This number is usually the largest number, plus or minus. And then your production. That's your fuel efficiencies. That's your local electricity grid, and so on. That's what drives your A3 numbers. So the fun part, we're going to use the Emerald Ecolabel tool. In order to make an EPD, how many people opened up that data gathering Excel sheet? How many people found it overwhelming? Yeah, I helped write that. I apologize. When you look at it in that way, it seems like a lot. But here's your checklist. This is the data you need. You need your electricity bill. You need your fuel bills. And this is for usually the last 12 months. Let me say that better. We need 12 months continual worth of data. Almost everybody does the last calendar year. Some people do the last fiscal year, but that's just dependent on your business, but that's just about everybody. Now, it's okay if you were down for the winter, that's normal. The only time someone might go back farther is maybe you had like a whole, I don't know, major renovations where you shut down for the year, right? So just about everybody is just going to use last year or last fiscal year. But yeah, you get your electricity bill, your fuel bill, your water use. We live in the Great Lakes region, so not everybody here has a water meter. That's okay. We have advice for that. You try and do your most reasonable assumptions for water. And your production volumes. So this is stuff you guys know and have, right? Find me an asphalt producer that doesn't know how much fuel they burned last year. I'd love to meet that person. We need to know your mix design for the EPD you want to make. You start with just one and grow from there. So what binder did you use? What aggregates did you use? Did you have any additives? And how far did that stuff have to travel? Right? Do you have a quarry on site? Or were you trucking your aggregate from Georgia? That right there is enough to make an EPD, along with a little bit of metadata about where you're located, who we can call if we have confusion, and so on. But once you put it in that Excel sheet, it does seem kind of hefty. Today, Napa is letting us use the simulator. How many people have an actual license, paid license with Napa? Anybody yet? Nice, guys. So I'll come work with you. Or we can play in the simulator, and we can also use your license and play in there as well. It's okay to have both. But everybody here got set up with a free simulator license. There's a couple folks that I'll have to click some buttons on. No problems at all. But what that means is you can enter your own production data if you did get all that stuff together in the Excel sheet. How many people got everything together in the Excel sheet? Yeah, totally, right? How many people are like, I got a few things? How many people are like, hey, the weather was bad, I made it here? Okay, total win. Because we can work with any of those. This has like kind of pre-populated generic plant, and then you can mess around with changing it. For my guys who already have a license, maybe you already have a plant together, we can talk about that as well. You can enter your own supplier data or generic supplier data. You can't make EPDs today, guys, sorry. But good news, you can generate an EPD-like results table. Because once you make an EPD, that's an official document. We're not going to do that here in training. We're going to get you to the point though where you see what it all looks like, how it works. And then when you're ready, you can push the button on your own. Not to mention, you have to have a paid license to make an EPD. NAPA's cost is very reasonable for EPDs, and I know that MAPA has programs for people that are looking for assistance, and obviously there's a pay item, so I don't know what more we could do to make that really friendly for you guys. But it's free. So instead of seeing this table I showed earlier, with the green in the EPD, you're going to see a summary table, but look here, same deal, A1, A2, A3. So we'll see the same data, just a slightly different format. So, we're going to spend about a half hour just playing around in this. And then we're going to come back and discuss a little bit about the A4 and A5 pieces. The cool thing is that the folks who did the study are actually here. So we'll talk about that more. But for now, what I want everyone to do is go to asphaltepd.org and sign yourselves in.